Welcome to the Word for the Week, brought to you by Living Hope Christian Fellowship. We publish new content weekly, so please subscribe to our channel and tap the bell icon to receive notifications of new videos. This week, Debbie is going to be speaking to us about freedom.
Hi everyone. I'm preparing this message on what has become popularly known as Freedom Day, Monday the 19th of July 2021. The day when all legal COVID restrictions are lifted in England. Hurrah, I hear you cry, freedom at last, let's party. And party, some people certainly already have. At 1 minute past midnight, youngsters were queuing up, waiting for the nightclubs to open their doors, ready to cram onto the dance floors and have themselves a good time. But perhaps that's not you. With rising infection rates and the continuing spread of the Delta variant, maybe the arrival of so-called Freedom Day fills you with apprehension. The removal of clear legal requirements that you can follow might make you feel confused and unsafe. So one person's freedom could be another person's fear. I work for Age UK Birmingham, a charity which supports over 50s in the city. I get to talk to older people on a daily basis, and many of them are fearful about the lifting of lockdown restrictions and how to work out how to keep safe in the days ahead. When I considered all this, it made me ponder on the meaning of Christian freedom. The New Testament refers to freedom in many places. Jesus said that we will know the truth, and the truth will set us free. He also said that those whom he, the Son, sets free will be free indeed. A whole series of sermons could be preached on the theme of freedom in Christ, and it certainly isn't my purpose to attempt it today in this brief message. But what I do want to focus on is just one aspect of Christian freedom highlighted in the New Testament, because I think it's very relevant for this moment in time. In his letter to the Galatians, the Apostle Paul writes passionately about the fact that Christian converts have been set free from bondage to the Jewish law. He writes this way because certain false teachers are telling new believers that they must be circumcised and keep the law. In Galatians 5 verse 1, he sums up his argument, stating emphatically, "For freedom Christ has set us free. Stand firm therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery." But only a few verses later, Paul goes on to write, "For you were called to freedom, brothers. Only do not use your freedom as an opportunity for the flesh, but through love serve one another. For the whole law is fulfilled in one word, you shall love your neighbour as yourself." Galatians 5:13 and 14. So Paul is saying, on the one hand, we have been set free, but on the other, we are called above all things to love. And loving my brother and sister can mean that I choose to restrict my own freedom for their sake. True freedom is not dependent on the lifting of restrictions or an improvement in our circumstances. It is something which is experienced from within. It comes from knowing we are held in the love of God. At the height of the pandemic, when older people were virtually prisoners in their own homes, I had many conversations during the course of my working day. Some people were really angry, frustrated or fearful. Others were trying their hardest to make the best of things. Many of my phone calls left me feeling concerned or sad. But there was one client who I always loved to call. We'll call her Carla, though that's not her real name. When Carla answered the phone, it was as if sunlight came pouring down the line. In her 80s, Carla has known the Lord for decades, and she's found deep contentment in Him. She's always pleased to get my call, always joyful, always grateful for every act of kindness she might receive. When I asked her if she would like a volunteer to call her every week for a little chat, she said yes, but they mustn't mind me talking about Jesus. I have to talk about Him. Whatever her outward circumstances, Carla was free. As we continue in this new phase of the pandemic, I want to urge us to express the freedom we have in Christ in loving and caring for others. In another of Paul's letters, he vividly describes the example that Christ has set before us. Complete my joy by being of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to the interests of others. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus, who though he was in the form of God, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself by taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men, and being found in human form, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. So, we now have the freedom, as far as COVID is concerned, to do what we want. We don't have to wear a mask, we don't have to socially distance, we can go to crowded venues and enjoy ourselves if we so desire. And for ourselves, some of us might feel perfectly fine about doing these things. But as followers of Christ, Paul says we are to count others more significant than yourself. There's a verse to write up on your bedroom wall. The freedom Christ has given us is the freedom to love, the freedom to lay down our own rights and look out for the well-being of the weakest and most vulnerable, to lay down our own preferences when they cause difficulty or offence to another. In the days ahead, let's seek to find our freedom in the footsteps of Christ and model his love to a society still very much in turmoil and distress. Bless you all. Have a great week.